Hey guys, it's Marcus here, getting ready to get the show on the road today. Going to be talking about some really good stuff about our no-fail profit plan. So, if you can hear me okay, please let me know by typing something in the box, and we'll be getting going here in just a little bit. Definitely want to see who's here, so if you can type in where you're listening from and your name, that would be great. And we'll get you guys all squared away here. Let me see if I can find my live dashboard here. All right, where'd our live streaming dashboard go? All right, cool. And if you can hear me okay, please let me know by typing something in the box. If we do lose audio, please let me know. I forgot to charge my audio all night, so hopefully we don't lose the audio. Hopefully it's all okay and everything like that. All right, excellent. So feel free to type in where you're listening from and your name. We got Francis from New Zealand. We got Stephen from I Can Hear You. All right, Stephen, glad you can hear us. And where else we got? We got Brogan from Canada. How you doing, Brogan? And as you guys can see, we have our little countdown, so we should be starting here in just a little bit. Patrick from Long Beach. I used to live all around the Long Beach area. All right, cool. So today's goal is to get you guys a mindset change, an epiphany, if you will, to kind of help you guys understand how this works so that you can go and do it. Because I know a lot of times, you know, most of what we talk about here at Affiliate Marketing Dude is like the technical side of things and how to get started with the tech stuff, how to deal with niche finding, everything like that. And today I wanted to do a little bit different, and I wanted to give you the mindset. So we got a lot of people coming in. Stephen from New York. We got Kendra from Oklahoma. We got Sam from Iowa. We got Carrie, I think it's Carrie or Corey, from Australia. We got Earl from Jamaica. Tammy all the way from Orlando, about 20 minutes from me. CJ from North Dakota. All right, excellent. So feel free to type in where you're listening from. And we're going to do this a little bit different today because I have a goal in mind. And the goal in mind that I have is that by the end of this call, you will understand something and you will have a mindset shift to be able to understand and do the things that we talk about here. So I know that a lot of times we're going over and we're talking about tech stuff and things like that. And today what I want to do is I really want to hammer home the mindset stuff because I believe that that is what holds you guys back if you're not getting where you want to be. And let's see if I can just make these comments a little bigger here. There we go. That should do the trick. Okay, excellent. And how's our sound quality? Got Mary from Houston. Good to have you here, Mary. Target from Phoenix. Ken from South Carolina. We got, who else we got there? Stephen from the internet. All right, he came all the way from the internet out to see us. Okay, cool stuff. All right, so what we're going to do here is we are going to go over something. And before we get started, we've got about 3 minutes before we get started in the main stuff. And I got to post this thing. Let me see here. We'll post this in our Facebook group while we're waiting. That way they can check us out too. All right, Dave from South Carolina. So what I want to do before we get started here is I want to ask you guys how you're feeling today. Okay, so I want you to answer in a one word. Maybe you're feeling optimistic. Maybe you're feeling down. Maybe you're feeling encouraged. Maybe you're feeling discouraged. Maybe you're like in a go-get-em attitude. Whatever it is, type that in the box and let me know how you're feeling. Now, this is going to be very important. This is based on a lot of stuff that I've gone through personally in my life when dealing with the mindset stuff. So I want you guys to take a minute and put that in the box, right? Be straight up. Say, hey, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way. And it's going to make a big sense, right? There we go. It's going to make big sense by the time we're done. As you can see here, I have a lot of notes here that we're going to go over. All right, cool. So Brogan says he's slightly anxious. Okay, I can relate. I had to go to the dentist yesterday. Totally anxiety. It's kind of been difficult since then, but, you know, kind of happened. Okay, Hudson says he's doing great. Encouraging, sleepy, I feel uncertain about a few things, tired, optimistic but anxious, okay? Unfocused, okay? Palestine, I don't know what that means. Oh, is that where you're listening from? I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that's a feeling, but, you know, maybe it's something. All right, so yeah, we want to take a look at this, and we really want to focus on you guys, okay? So this webinar is going to be all about you guys. It's going to be about getting you guys the stuff that you need. So we're going to start off with how you're feeling. We got optimistic and encouraged. Jim says he's getting pumped. Nathaniel's rooting for the Braves. San Francisco, we're rooting for here. We will have none of that Braves talks. We like San Francisco and Detroit Red Wings if you're into hockey. Okay, so a lot of people are here. A lot of people are having all kinds of different feelings. And what we want to do is we want to talk about that, because oftentimes it's our feelings that dictate our results. Okay, write that down if you're taking notes. Kendra says confused, feeling confused. Okay, excellent. So write that down. Oftentimes it's our feelings that dictate what's going on. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about our no-fail profit plan. Okay? No-fail profit plan. How can you get started? And we forgot the most important thing here, which will make this look a lot better. There we go. Now things are better. Now it feels like a real webinar. Maybe that's why you guys were feeling a little funny at the beginning. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about our no-fail profit plan. All right, how would you like to basically be guaranteed to get some kind of results? Guaranteed to do what you want to do, guaranteed to like make a living if that's what you want to do, guaranteed to set up a site. Now, I don't speak of a guarantee in a way like, hey, you know what, if you buy my product, you're guaranteed this. No, that's not what we're talking about, okay? A product is a product. That's all it is. Now, one of the problems that people have when it gets to internet marketing is they put all their faith in something outside themselves. And we'll go ahead and take this counter away so that you guys can see what's going on here. And let's see. There we go. Okay. So a lot of times what we have is we have people struggling, right? How many of you guys, you showed up today and, you know, maybe you're optimistic, but maybe you're struggling, right? Maybe you don't know what to do. You don't know how it's going to work. You don't know where to start. You're kind of apprehensive to start anything because you don't know what to expect, right? And that is what we want to go through today. And we want to talk about this and we want to give you the mindset of the no-fail profit plan. Right? What is a no-fail profit plan? This is the thing that I've used over and over in my life, right? In my life, I've had a lot of downs. I've had a lot of ups. I've had a lot of people tell me what I can and cannot do. I've had a lot of people tell me what does and does not work. And I've had a lot of these things. Let's see if we can do this without messing up our studio here. All right, there we go. I've had a lot of things happen, right? And now, while I might not be as successful as some other people, a lot of people look at what I've done and they say, hey, you know what, that's pretty cool. You know, he's been able to stay home. He's made a great income. He's been able to play with his kids all the time and, you know, pretty much do what he wants to do for the last 17 years. Now, what I want to kind of go through is the mentality of how that started, right? A lot of people don't know this about me, but when I started, it was 17 years ago, back in the year 2000 or 1999, and I lived in a mobile home with my brother. We actually, when I was a kid, we had all kinds of family stuff, just craziness, right? Crazy stuff. And I was moved out at a young age, so my dad was like, okay, instead of solving the family problem, we'll just take the kids and move them into an apartment on their own, right? So at a young age, I was like, put an apartment, and it was nice. I mean, it was a nice apartment and everything, but we weren't given the skills or tools to be able to live. It was just kind of like, okay, well, you know, go figure out how to cook, go figure out how to go to the grocery store, go figure out how to do all this. And so I started off at a young age, and as time progressed, I got to about 19, and at that time we moved into a mobile home, which was in, I think it was Stanton or Garden Grove or something. I hated living there. And I lived with my brother, and you know, it was really tough. At that time, I used to be a preacher. I used to do stand-up preaching. A lot of people don't know that about me. You're going to learn all kinds of things you don't know about me in this webinar. This is kind of like a insight into who I am, what I've done, why it's worked, what the struggles I've gone through. And inadvertently, you are going to learn from that the no-fail profit plan. Because I think that if you are really wise, you can learn from your own mistakes. But if you're a genius, you can learn from the mistakes of others. Right? A lot of people in life have gone down the path that you want to go down. They've gone through the struggles you want to go through, and they've paved a way. Right? That's the whole nature of progress in humankind. It's like, okay, the people before us found out that, hey, you know what? Killing the people next door isn't the greatest way to live. The greatest way to live is getting along with people. Hey, who'd have thought, right? And they learned all kinds of things along the way. And throughout these stories and throughout what I'm going to share with you today, you are going to learn this. And my goal is to give each and every person here an epiphany moment, a moment of clarity where you say, you know what? I might not understand all the tech stuff. I might not understand how to put a video on Facebook or Twitter, or even if I need to use Facebook or Twitter, but I understand something that has shifted my way of thinking. Because as I was telling you the story of when I was in that mobile home with my brother, I used to be a preacher. I met my girlfriend. Girlfriend got pregnant. I was a magician. I was a starving magician, right? Many months. If Dad wasn't paying for that rent, then, you know, we kind of would have been up the creek without a paddle. But at any rate, I was doing the magic thing, I was doing websites, and I was really discouraged, right? I felt like there was no way this was going to work, okay? I felt like I knew it was going to work, but I felt like not me, right? How many of you guys feel that way today? You're like, okay, I feel like I see it. Like I see all these guys excelling, I see all these guys doing really well online, but it's not me yet, right? And that's how I felt. I was like, I know this works. I can eke out $1,000 a month by doing websites or magic shows or whatever, but I really need to get something that's going to make it really work. And at that time, the girlfriend was pregnant. We had no money. And my family, they think that babies cost like $10 million. So they were like, what are you going to do? You need to get this job. You need to do this stuff. You can't be a failure. You can't sit around on the internet all day. You got a kid to feed. You got a mouth to feed. And we got all kinds of terrible, terrible advice. And I remember one time I was sitting in that mobile home and I was on my computer, and my girlfriend, who was pregnant at the time, had left to go be with her family to finish out her pregnancy while I was figuring out the internet thing, right? A lot of people don't know this about me, but I think it's really going to give you insight into why it worked. And I'm going to give you that aha moment so that it can work for you. So when I was there, like she went back to San Francisco. I was in Long Beach area at the time. And she went back up, and I was going to figure out this internet thing, which pretty much to me meant sit in my seat and be depressed as hell because I'm a loser, right? That's how I felt. I was like, I'm a loser. I can't do this. I suck. And now I'm going to have a kid. What do I do? All right. And one time my dad came in, and my dad's a very religious person. And he's one of those religious people that thinks like he's the one that has the power, right? I don't think that's true. I think we all have a measure of power. It just happens to be what you decide to do with it. And he comes to me, he's like, I'm going to pray for you, son, and things are going to change. And he prayed for me and everything. And, you know, I started crying because I was overwhelmed, not because of what he was saying. And he left, and he's like, that's the moment that changed your life. And I'm like, no, that's not the moment that changed my life. The moment that changed my life actually came a lot sooner. And the moment that changed my life was the moment that I said, I am going to do this. Plain and simple. I said, there is no try, there is no maybe, it's not up to some guru, it's not up to some guy, it's not up to some training program, it's not about this, right? It's about me doing it. Okay, now JT says, sounds like the prayer worked. Well, you could interpret it however you want, right? I was also prophesied that I was going to be a famous, a scientist, right? So, you know, to each his own, right? I kind of believe like if these prophets prophesy enough crap, something's going to come true, and obviously everyone's like, wow, how genius. And it's like, well, you know, if you say enough things, you're going to get something right, but to each his own. So we have this here, right? And we have this, and we want to look at it, and we want to say, well, what was it that actually changed? What was it that the pivotal moment that went from failing to succeeding? What was that pivotal moment? And we want to look at this, and I got a lot of notes we want to go over today. You want to stick around on this call. We're going to have some giveaways, if I remember, so someone remind me to do some giveaways and prizes. We're going to give everyone who's attending live a copy of this handwritten note sheet, so stay around to the end, and we're going to show you how it works. Now, Carrie says, don't try, do. Don't try something, do something. And he says that to Yoda. Okay, now it's very important because a lot of people have this don't try, do mentality, which is like, hey, you know what? If you get off your ass and you do enough stuff, you're going to succeed. How many of you guys have heard that? And how many of you guys believe it? You believe that, hey, you know what? My lack of success is a lack of not doing enough. Okay, but on the other hand, my challenge to you would be, well, there's people with 1,000 YouTube videos that have like 10 views each and they're not getting anywhere. Okay, so we got to look at that. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to take a look and say, what is it that changed? Now, we want to look at that, and we want to look at Marcus in the mobile home. So we're going to draw our little mobile home here. Things sucked. It got to be like 90 degrees, and we didn't have an air conditioner, and it sucked. I hated living in that because it just was bad. I think they ended up bulldozing it after we left. But at any rate, right, I wasn't born with a silver spoon. I wasn't born with all this stuff, so we have to look at this, okay? Like Mary says, you know, what if you do the wrong things? So we look at this, and we're going to take a look at this. So we got Marcus in the mobile home here. Here's our stupid mobile home. Here's the door. We had a little porch, and we had like a trash can that I almost lit on fire. Well, I did light it on fire, but the people came. I didn't know. See, this is how young and how naive I was when we moved out. I didn't know that charcoal stayed hot after the flame died down. So I took the old charcoals, and I was like, well, there's no fire. You ought to be able to put it in the dumpster, and the thing poof, lit on fire because I didn't know these things, right? So there's certain things that I didn't know, and there's all kinds of things. Okay, are we having an issue with the autofocus? I'll see if we could change that. Sometimes it's a pain, but we'll see if we could do that. Okay, that should fix it. Okay, so we look at that, and we want to take a difference. So we want to take a difference from the mobile home dude to the money-making guy. Now, along the way, a lot has changed. A lot of you guys know about me. You know that 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago, I was called in on a 5150. I basically went insane and ended up in rehab from alcohol, right? So there's been things. Now, I believe that you can take and you can learn from people who have struggled. You can learn from people who have had hard times. You can learn from things along the way so you don't have to go through it, right? Like I could take someone who's going down the path of alcohol and I can say, hey, check this out. I know what's going on. You might not see it, but I can see it. Now, it's very important here because there are things in life that other people see that you cannot see. All right, I know we like to think that we're wise. I know we like to think that we're special. I know we like to think we're whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is you have blinders. You have blinders. So no matter how hard you try, like Mary said, maybe you're doing the wrong thing. And maybe you don't even know you're doing the wrong thing because you need to meet someone who has come along and done this stuff before you. Like when I was going through the alcohol stuff, right? Someone could have came along and said, look, Marcus, I know you don't see it because you're blinded by your own arrogance, you're blinded by this, you're blinded by this, and you're blinded by the very thing that you're trying to stop doing. And I couldn't see it, right? I could not see it. There was no way to see it. Now, in your life, in your business, there are things that you can't see. Now, I know you've heard this word before, and I'm going to write it on the board. Limiting belief. How many of you guys have heard of a limiting belief? Type LB in the box or type limiting belief in the box. If you've heard of a limiting belief. And the idea of a limiting belief is the idea that there are certain beliefs that hold you back. There are certain things that hold you back. When I was in the mobile home, I thought I was a loser, so much that I can't even spell loser right. I thought I was a deadbeat. I thought I sucked. I thought money was hard to get. Okay, how many of you guys have any of these? You might think, hey, you know what, I think about this. I think money's hard to get, right? And be honest with yourself. I know you can go and you can pick up the books and you can read and you can think in your head, wow, money's easy, but you ain't got any, which means you must really believe it's hard, right? So we have to look at this because sometimes knowing is not enough. Sometimes knowing is not enough. Sometimes books are not enough. Sometimes they can actually be worse, like me. When I was drinking, and I hate to bring up this analogy a lot, but I think it actually fits here, so if you don't mind it, let me know. If you do struggle with drinking and you need help, reach out to us. We got some videos to help you, not selling anything. We're just trying to help people out here. And we're looking at this, and we're like, okay, when I was drinking, right, I couldn't see things. I studied. Half of these books on alcoholism in this part here, which there's a lot of them, were about it, and I knew it, right? I went in and I was like, I could teach this class. I know about this. I know how it works, right? And we look at it and we're like, okay, we got this, but it's not sinking in. It's not working. How many of you guys got it, but it's not working, right? How many of you guys could probably write a book on how to do affiliate marketing, right? It might not be an expert book, but you could tell them the basics, but it's not working, right? But that's what this webinar is about. Is your life not working? Is what you're doing not working? Are you in that mobile home sitting there, or hopefully a little bit nicer than the one I had, right? Are you sitting there saying, I'm a loser, I'm a deadbeat, whatever, or are you simply just not getting where you want to be, right? Type that in the box. If you say, I'm not where I want to be, type it in the box and give me a percentage. Say I'm, 99% lost or whatever, my life's not working or whatever. Now, there's some things in your life that might be working. Like I like to think that even though I had some hard times, I always liked to be a good dad. I always tried to be a good guy. I always tried to help people out, and I tried, okay? Now, Francis says close, but no cigar, right? How many of you guys are feeling that way? Okay, a lot of people aren't where they want to be, right? Now, we're going to go through this and we're going to talk about how it works. I'm not where I want to be, 99%. Okay, good. Now, in that mobile home, I wasn't where I wanted to be. I was depressed. I didn't want to be on Earth anymore, which is this is the second time in my life I didn't want to be on Earth. The first time I was 16, and I felt like a loser then too. I think maybe 15. I think 16. I think I had just turned 16. Right, so that was the second time. The third time was when I was drinking, okay? Now, all of these times, I had this going on in my mind, and this was, whatever you call it, limiting belief, depression, whatever. You can learn about something, and you cannot get the benefit of it, right? You can learn about something, but you cannot get the benefit of it. A lot of you guys have watched my videos, they've learned this stuff, you've gone through life, you know how this works, but it's not going to work. Just like psychologists, right? Psychologists are like one of the most depressed people in the world, which is funny. It's like, how would a therapist be super depressed? I mean, all they do is think about not being depressed, right? And this is part of our life. So we're going to get into this. This webinar might be long. Stick through it. I guarantee you some life-changing stuff, okay? So, and we're going to give away prizes and everything like that. So we're going to talk about limiting beliefs. We're going to talk about how sometimes the information is not enough. We're going to talk about the mindsets. And we're going to talk about how it works. Now, first of all, my job today, if you're up for it, if you're not up for it, I can't help you. If you're up for it, my job is first and foremost, we need a more dramatic color. We'll use reddish pink. I don't know, that's probably not dramatic. But my goal first and foremost is to decondition you. What if I told you that everything you believe right now, everything you think right now, everything you do right now is a product of conditioning? You have been conditioned by society, you've been conditioned by school, you've been conditioned by everything. Just think about this for a minute. You go to school, okay, and I see this in my own life. It drives me nuts. I hate that I really can't do anything about it with my people, right? But we have deconditioning, and we have it, and you go to school. You go to school, you're told to memorize a bunch of facts. Maybe you do good, maybe you skip school and do all kinds of other stuff other than school like I did. But at any rate, you're taught this certain thing, right? You're taught this certain thing, and you memorize it. Boom, 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 okay? You memorize it, which is basically what school is up until high school, okay? You memorize something, you do good, you get an A+. You do bad, you get an F, okay? Now, how many of you guys felt bad when you got an F? You're like, man, that freaking sucks. I'm an idiot. I did terrible, right? I got an F. Okay, now, this is why we're talking about fail here. And this is all going to make sense. And at the end of this call, you're going to be like, Marcus, I'm so glad I listened to this entire call because I get it. And if you don't get it, we're going to have another call until you get it. Because even if you buy my course, if you don't get this, You ain't going to do anything with it anyway. I see it all the time. 99% of the people who buy my course don't even use it. I actually had a joke in the first Simple Sites 2008. I had a page in the book, and I said, if you made it this far, write me at this email address and I'll send you $100. I think one guy wrote me, and we sold like 2,000 copies of that thing. All right, so you felt bad when you had the F. And you're like, okay, I feel bad because I got the F. I feel good when I got the A. And we started to look at things as success and failure. Success and failure. Right? Now, instead of saying, well, maybe I'm just not good at memorizing. Maybe I really don't care about all the presidents and all the states and all this stuff. Maybe I just don't care. And that might be the case, right? So we look at this and we have to decondition. Now, how many of you guys right now have a conditioning in your brain? Maybe you've heard the Marcus tell you that affiliate marketing is easy, right? You've heard me say it. Affiliate marketing is easy. And maybe you believe it. Maybe you could even visualize, like the law of attraction people. Let's get out our vision board and let's visualize success. We'll put a picture of a car. We'll put a picture of a money. We'll put a picture of this. And we're going to visualize the success. Okay? And you know how to visualize. You know that money's easy. You know that money's everywhere. But you can't just get any. You can't seem to break the barrier of the limiting belief or whatever it is. Right? If you feel that way, type it in the box and let me know. So what we want to do is we want to decondition you first and foremost. And I want you to understand that making money online is one of the easiest possible things you can do. It is so easy, it's not even funny. And a lot of you might be going, well, Marcus, why would you teach this? Doesn't this go against buying products online? Isn't it supposed to be hard? Aren't you supposed to do things and get this stuff? No, it's freaking easy. People go to work for 8 hours a day and they do something they hate. And affiliate marketers, if you know what you're doing, you could go in and work like 2 hours a day and make the same amount or more, right? My life, it's pretty easy. I come down the grass and I come in here and I work. It's not that hard. It's easy. Okay, now, you probably get that mentally. But there are years and years and years and years of deconditioning or conditioning that went on that we need to erase today. We got to erase it today. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get where you want to be, right? So we have these limiting beliefs. Now, I like the idea of a limiting belief. I don't like that I have them, but I like the idea of what it is. But I think it's weak. I think it's weak because a limiting belief assumes that you could just, change it at the drop of a hat. Right? Now, some things are different. Now, let's talk about this. And we're going to get personal here. If you like that, give us a thumbs up, comment all over this video, and we'll do more stuff like that. I was talking to my wife about this, and I struggled very bad with anxiety. That was actually one of the reasons I drank a lot. And it was very difficult, right? It's extremely difficult. And she says, well, can't you just think about something else? Okay, to someone who keeps dropping chalk, to someone who has this debilitating anxiety, all right, it's not a thought. I'm not sitting there thinking things. I'm not sitting there going, wow, that guy's probably going to get me. This is probably going to happen. Oh, gee, it's not a thought. It is not a thought. It's not words. So a limiting belief usually is words, okay? That's why I think that's kind of weak. Because also, down below it, we have these things called feelings. All right, now our feelings, you could say that your feelings are based on blah, blah, blah. But, a lot of psychology stuff is just garbage because they say no one can make you feel anything. Hogwash. Someone could make me feel afraid right now. Someone can make you feel afraid right now, right? You can make people feel whatever you want. Now, of course, we have to own our part of it, but those feelings come in. Now, oftentimes with limiting beliefs and anxiety and procrastination and not getting things done, it all comes down to a subcategory of a limiting belief. It's below the limiting belief. It's not in words. It's not in thoughts. It's in a feeling in your body that stops you from doing things, okay? Very important. So we got to look at that. There I was in the mobile home. I had these beliefs. They weren't really thoughts. I was just depressed as hell. How many of you guys have ever felt depressed as hell? And it sucks. And we'll put some little wheels and blocks here because that's what that thing looked like. Right? And it sucks. Now, we look at this and we say, well, can we change things? So I want to stop right here and I want to talk about something interesting. So we have this here and this mobile home thing that I absolutely can't stand because it represents so much about my life that I hate, right? Got to live with brother, got to do this. There was so many drugs and stuff going on in there. It was just insane, right? It was a crazy ass place to live and I hated it. But to someone else on this planet, that would be a palace. Okay, that's step one. Thanks for your honesty there, Francis. We are glad you're still with us, buddy. Okay, I know how hard it can be to go through some of this stuff. I know how difficult it is. And the key is realizing that life is not what you think it is. The map is not the territory. Your feelings are not reality. Your thoughts are not reality. Your thoughts are only your perception of reality, right? We have this, and we have things we believe, and we only believe them based on part of the truth. So I believed that having this mobile home was bad, being a failure was bad, only making $2,000 a month as a magician was bad, doing this was loser, doing this sucked. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, I am a piece of shit. So I thought. But someone else would look at me and be like, you're making $2,000 as a magician? Damn, that's pretty badass, Marcus. That's pretty. You live in that mobile home? Oh man, that's cool. I got to live in a room. Well, I lived in the room of it, but at any rate, we look at that and we say, well, perception is key, right? So we got to look at this because we have to look at this, and there was a time that something shifted in my brain. Because up until this time, I was a failure before I started. How do you like them apples? A failure before you even started. How many of you guys right now, you're like, I don't care what product I buy, I don't care what I do, I don't care about anything? I've already failed before I started in my own mind. I've already failed, right? Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. How many of you guys buy my product to try it? You're like, I'm just going to try this out. I'm going to try it and give it a whirl. I'm going to do this stuff and hopefully it works. Okay? That's called failing before we started. Okay? Failing before we start. Thanks for all the nice comments, by the way. I certainly am glad I stuck it out those 3 times I had those times in my life. So we look at this. Fail before you started. Okay? Very important. Now, another thing, right? We got to decondition this stuff. Right? A lot of people believe money is hard to get. Okay? Now, for me, I haven't made billions. I haven't made hundreds of millions. I've made enough to where I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool, right? I've been able to stay home, been able to hang out with you guys, been able to stay with the kids, been able to go to every school function with the exception of the ones I was too anxious to go to. Now I just stick it out anyway, right? And we look at that, and I've made some money. I've done some stuff. Money is not hard to get. I want you to write that down, and I want you to start to think about it. And I want you to prove to yourself over and over how easy it is to get. It's everywhere, right? Literally, right now while you're watching me, there are people on Amazon buying stuff. Like, I bought all these signs on Amazon. I got some of them at another place. But I bought all these signs. It's a couple $100 for these signs. I got some signs out there. I bought monitors. I bought all kinds of things, right? Bought lunch today. What else did I buy? I bought some tobacco from a pipe. You know, I bought all kinds of things today. Money is being spent everywhere, right? Money is everywhere. Now, Michael says, I tried all other things. I got big ticket sites to work and make. Good, great. All right. Lex says feels like he's going to be out of cash before he does stuff. Now, here's another lie. How many of you guys think it takes money to make money? Right? Put take money, make money, or take money, or whatever. Something in there, right? Shorten it if you have to. Okay? So we look at it and we're like, okay, it takes money to make money. A lot of people believe this. Takes money to make money. Okay? That is another lie. Okay? Now, within reason. I'm assuming that you guys all have internet access, right? I think so. I'm just guessing. All right, you might be watching me on some AM radio somewhere that found out how to get a YouTube, but I don't know. chances are you have the internet. If you got the internet, you can make money. You don't need a website. I preach having a website. Why? I've done this. Guys, do it right. Make some money. Do it the right way. Don't dick around to save 5 cents. But if you're really, really broke and you just need to make money right now, it's very easy, right? You could go on a forum. You could talk about sites. You can offer a free website if they sign up for web hosting. Boom. Done deal. Okay? So we got to get rid of the belief that money's hard to get. We have to get rid of the belief that it takes money to make money. And we don't have to just get rid of them. We have to shatter them to the core because they are conditioned and in our brain no matter what we do. Like when I was struggling with drinking, it was in there so bad I had taught myself thousands of times that alcohol was a solution to the problem. And it was a solution. It worked until it didn't anymore. Right? It was a terrible solution. I didn't have any better solution in my mind. And then someone came up and said, I got a better solution. I got something that makes everything else obsolete. Right? And that's what I am going to give you today. If you stick around for the whole thing, we're about 30 minutes in. Stick around for another hour. We're going to show you that. Right? I am going to give you something that breaks everything away. Right? Breaks everything away. And we look at that. And we're like, okay, this is cool. Okay? And we're going to show you how it works. Now, try to stick to my notes here. So failed before they started. Right? The reason you fail before you started is all in your mind. It's all in your mindset. Okay? Now, I'm not one of those people that believes that it's all about visioning and affirmations and things. Now, those do help, but they only help you. Okay? Are you going to visualize and do something and the universe is going to come banging down your door to make sure you get what you want? Let's talk about another problem. Another problem is the worst word in the English language. We'll get blue, right? And that is the word want. Want. Okay? How many of you guys use this personal help stuff as your own piggy bank and your own like toddler version of just getting what you want? I want this. I want that. I want new car. I want new this. I want new that. Don't I deserve it? Haven't I gotten? Haven't I paid for? Haven't I done? I bought enough programs. I did enough stuff. I tried all the things. I've looked at Google. I've watched all your stuff on YouTube. I hate when people tell me that they've watched all my stuff on YouTube because you haven't. It's like 430 videos. Maybe there's like 9 people who have, but not the guy who's like, I found you yesterday and I watched all your videos. No, you didn't. Okay? You didn't. So we got to look at that. Okay, now Will says, well, there's cost for internet, there's cost for Marcus program, there's cost for computer and cell phones, right? Well, yes, there is, but we're assuming you guys all have internet anyway. And if you want to like get by without that, you have that anyway, right? So that is a limiting belief. You're like, well, you know, I'd rather go to the old McDonald's instead of buy a domain with hosting like Marcus says I should. Buy the freaking domain and eat a peanut butter sandwich. When I was living here, I got a giant Coke, which probably led to my blood sugar problems, and a burrito. And I ate it at 2 o'clock every day. I went down the road. It was $1 for this huge burrito. And in Long Beach, the Mexican food rocks. So the $1 burrito was actually pretty damn good. So I went there. I got my giant burrito. It was about this big. And I got a giant Coke. I weighed about 92 pounds, soaking wet on a bad day. I ate the burrito. I ate that at 2 o'clock every day in the afternoon. I went to bed at 4 in the morning. I threw up every morning at 10 a.m. because I couldn't eat. Now, that's also because of preconditioned psychological food abuse stuff. But at any rate, that's for another webinar, right? So I went through some tough shit to get where I'm at. That's a thing. So if you come to me and you're like, well, Marcus, you know, the hardest thing I ever went through is I bought your program. Well, okay, well, you know, get some cojones and do the shit you need to do. But at any rate, that's not what this webinar is about. So we look at this. And in here, that's what I was doing, right? I did that. I ate that nothing because I knew I needed to invest. And I went and bought a new monitor. And I went and I sold a website and I took that website money and I got a scanner. We used to use scanners back then. And I used to use this stuff and I used to do it, right? Lex says, I want a more secure future for my family is my desire. That's great, but let's cancel out the word want. Okay, we're not going to use that word. Want is like a 3-year-old throwing it. This is what I want, right? We're not going to use that word anymore because all the stuff that you're doing right now if you said earlier that your life is not where you want to be, then all the stuff you think you know isn't working. It's not giving you what you need to get where you want to be. This is something that was so hard to get into my pride-pumped head back when I was drinking, right? The fact that, look, expert Marcus, you're freaking drunk every night, and you can't do anything about it. You can't do a damn thing about it, and it happens every night, and you act like it's an accident, and someone had to come along and say, all of your notions, all of your beliefs, all the stuff you've read, everything you've done means nothing. Nothing, because it's not working. Okay, think about that. Let that sink in for a minute. Everything you think is worth nothing because it's not working. It doesn't matter if I could teach a alcohol class better than the teacher, which I probably could have back then, because I'm getting drunk every night. Right? Didn't mean crap. So all your stuff, it's like, am I where I want to be? No. Then it's time for a reevaluation. It's time for a reevaluation, because a lot of people say, well, does that mean it's a waste? Does that mean it's lost? Another life tip I'm going to give you is don't give meaning to things that have none. Your tendency is to say, Marcus, I totally understand. I'm where you are. I'm where you were. You could teach a class on drinking, but you couldn't quit drinking. And your tendency is to say, well, shit, I'm worse of a loser than him because I learned all this stuff and I can't do anything. What you're doing is you're giving meaning to something that doesn't have any meaning. All it means is you went through a conditioned life, you've built up these things in your brain, and you are where you are. You accept where you are right now. You say, this is where I am right now. That is when it changed. I said, this is where I am right now. I'm living here. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Can't do anything. I'm going to make a change. Why am I going to make a change? Because I accept it. This is where I am. Not because of whatever. Who cares? Okay, so many people want to say, because I'm in that mobile home because Donald Trump was supposed to pay my stuff. He didn't do anything. Woo, big surprise there. Right? Hope you enjoyed that. Right? Or Bernie was going to give us all free college. Right? I like that idea. I think everything like that should be good. Right? If I get a college grant, I'll teach everyone internet marketing free. But until then, you guys got to buy my stuff if you like it. Right? So we have that. And we say to ourselves, okay, well, I am putting my faith in something else, or maybe something else happened. I could have blamed the drink. I could have blamed my family stuff. I could have said my life sucked. I could have said this, or I could have just said, here's where we are. This is where we are. This is where we start. That's the key. Start. Where's your starting place? Are you going to say, I'm going to start right here now? Doesn't matter where I'm at. Doesn't matter if I bought something from Marcus and he took too long to respond. Doesn't matter if I bought something and it was totally junk. Doesn't matter. It's not up to them to make the life that you desire. It's up to you. And it's not that hard. It's only hard because of all this limiting belief stuff. So let's go over this. And I'd like to thank you guys for staying for a long time. Like, everyone's staying, which is cool. So you guys must like this stuff. If you do, give us a big thumbs up on the YouTube. And make sure when this is done, you comment. Right? I like to hear your comments. I actually go in and read them. Even the nasty ones. We got a nasty one today that said, Marcus, you talk too long. And I'm like, yeah, I probably do, but, you know, whatever. That's how it works, right? So that's the deal. Now, here's another ticket I want to give you. Another thing you want to write down. Okay? You, right now, you can do this. It's not that hard. You can do this. Everyone on this call can set up a site right now. And make sure the thumbs up are actually on the YouTube video because it like calculates them and everything. And I don't know, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. Right? So we look at this and we say, you can do this. Right? Now, Alex says, what's the secret, Marcus? You're getting the secret. You just don't know it yet. That's why you guys got to stay throughout this whole thing. You are getting the secret. You just don't know it yet. I had no idea when I was sitting in the mobile home that I got this. Right? I had no idea. And then I had another time in my life where I had no freaking idea I was getting this stuff. I had someone come along and be like, hey, Marcus, did you know you're actually getting something? I'd be like, what am I getting? I'm getting bored of hearing you talk, but I ain't getting nothing, right? But I was getting it. So you are getting it. This stuff is going into your brain. The secret's going to come, and next time you sit down to work, it's going to be like, holy cow, this makes sense. All I do is I don't give meaning to something that has no meaning. I sit down, I check my email first thing in the morning. No, don't do that. But if you do, right, you get something and you're like, well, that must mean this. That must mean this. And, okay, making sure our audio is good. If we lose audio, tell me, and I'll switch promptly. But we look at that and we say, okay, this is how it works, right? We got to focus on it. So, yes, make sure audio is going. If it drops, let me know. So we have this, and we have to learn how to decondition. We have to say, can I do this? Can I do this? It's very important that we focus on how we can do it. Now, we're going to talk about some other stuff here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit over here for a minute with you guys, and we're going to go over it. That way I can plug this in for a little. I think it'll still work while it's plugged in, and we'll actually go over the stuff. So let me know if we still have audio. Okay? I think we can actually turn you guys around here. Okay, cool. So, I have a water. Okay, so, still hearing? Excellent. Grace says, can I do it? Of course you can do it. Everyone here can do this, right? Everyone can do this. So we want to talk about this because we went over all this stuff, the mobile home stuff, the ideas of who we are, the idea of giving meaning to things that have no meaning. Oftentimes you're going to try to do things in life, and life is going to kick your ass, and you're going to feel bad, and you're going to be like, well, I don't want to do it, right? So many people will set up one website, and they won't get the results they want, and then they just quit. And they're like, hey, you know what? It didn't work. I'm out. This sucks, whatever. And they don't get anywhere. And what we want to do today is we want to talk about how to combat this, because limiting beliefs can only be combated by being superseded by something else, right? You have to believe something else. It's like when you have a maniac who's in some cult, which I used to study this a lot because I used to be a preacher, and there was lots of people and all kinds of things. Myself included, right? I was young. I didn't know everything. I didn't know nothing, right? And we look at this and we're like, okay, well, what changes people, right? And this is something that I am a student of my entire life. More important than making money online, more important than teaching affiliate marketing, right? I just do that because you guys like it and I happen to be good at it, I think, somewhat. And more important than that, I am a student of what makes people change, right? That is the biggest thing in my brain, is what makes someone change. What was it that took someone from the gutter and got him where he wanted to go? What was it that took someone who was down and out, who wanted to end everything, and made them happy again, right? What was it that changed? And what I look at is a deep-rooted belief structure, right? And we look at this in life and we say, okay, cool. So we have this stuff and we're like, okay, here's what I believe. I believe money's hard. I believe this. I believe that. Now, if you won the lottery tomorrow, those limiting beliefs would probably go away. Doesn't mean you'd be an expert. Doesn't mean you'd be rich all the time. But a lot of those beliefs would go away, right? If you believed that a spaceship was going to come to Earth and take us all away in 10 minutes, you probably wouldn't live the same way for the next 10 minutes, right? So those things change the way that we perceive things. And my goal today is to show you beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is money everywhere. Right now, every 60 seconds, 4 million searches are done on Google. Well, Google is, they don't like affiliate marketing, right? How many of you guys thought that? You're like, Google doesn't like affiliate marketing. Well, go to MSN if you believe that, right? They like it. Or do it the right way and Google will like it, right? It's all about doing things the right way. But what happens is we start to look at this in a different way, right? We start to look at this in a way of, hey, this works. Because the first time I made the first money, so there I was in the mobile home before we got pregnant and everything, before I even met my wife at that time. And I went to my dad's house. And when I got back, I discovered that my brand new website made $21 while I was gone, right? And this was before, like, you had internet on your cell phone. Back then, you just used a cell phone to call, and it was big, right? And a butt dial was like, if you, like, sat on it and rolled around, right? That's the only way you call someone. But you look at that and you're like, we didn't have internet. And so I came back and I was like, $21, and I didn't work today. I made 20. Now, 21 bucks sucks. If I gave everyone 21 bucks on this call, no one would be any better off. You'd probably go to dinner. Maybe you'd go see the new Pirates movie or whatever your fancy is. You probably wouldn't get very far, right? I think if you go to McDonald's, it's like 20 bucks or something like that, which don't ever go there. That's not good food. But at any rate, that's like 20 bucks. So we look at this and we're like, okay, what changed? Because it certainly wasn't the money, right? It certainly wasn't the money. Now, there's one guy who can make 21 bucks and not have the epiphany or the change of life that I had. So what's the difference, right? And we're going to talk about that because maybe you've made a few bucks, but it hasn't gotten you where you want to be. And so we look at that and we're like, that changed. The thing that changed in my life was understanding. And I think we might have a good charge here. And I'll plug this other one in just in case. But it's the idea of thinking, what can I get when I'm not working, right? Because up until then, and let me know if our audio goes out, okay? So it's the difference between thinking like a boss or employer or whatever and thinking like a worker. Up until now, you've probably been taught to think like a worker. Most people, if I said, hey, there's a job offer on the table for 150 grand a year, you go to work, you get 150. Or you can do internet marketing, you're going to start out making 20 grand a year, right? And maybe you can grow. Most people would take the 150. Okay, most people would be like, okay, I'm going to take the 150 grand, I'm going to go to work. Most people would do that. I wouldn't. The reason I wouldn't is because of the fact that I can do something today that makes me money tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day without even doing anything else. I can put up a blog post. If that blog post makes me $1 a day every day, I have just added $365 per year to my bottom line, right? So if I could do that, how many of you guys believe you can make $1, right? If I taught you, you could make $1. I mean, come on, $1. And if you don't believe it, at the end of the webinar, maybe we'll figure out a way to give everyone $1 so that'll work. Or maybe we'll give one guy everyone's dollars and he can figure out the rest, right? But we look at that and we're like, okay, so we have this. How many of you guys are like, I can make $1? I can make $1. Easy, right? I've seen Marcus. He talks about those Bible toolbars and those other toolbars. They pay you $3. All I got to do is get 2 people a week to download that and I make $1 a day, right? Everyone can do this. Does everyone believe they can make $1? Okay? Good. I want everyone to type it in the box. Say, yes, I can make $1. Put a dollar sign with a 1. Say, I can make $1. Mike says he can't. Okay, Mike, you're on the wrong webinar, buddy. If you don't think you can make $1 with this, yeah, this is limiting belief stuff. You gotta deal with that. Okay? Excellent. So a lot of people think they could do $1. Good. So if I could spend today, just today, I'm like, I'm going to make a YouTube video, I'm going to do a blog post, I'm going to do something. And I'm going to focus it deliberate. That's another thing you're going to write down. You're going to write down, somewhere on here, where is it? Forced Organic Growth Plan. We are on the Forced Organic Growth Plan. All right? If I could do something. Blog post, YouTube video, whatever. Ad, Facebook post, Twitter. So many ways to get traffic, it's not even funny. The problem isn't that you don't know how to do it. The problem is you can't pick a direction. That's the problem. Has nothing to do with not being able to do it. Anyone can build a website. Anyone. The problem is you can't make a damn decision. That's why we're going to talk about the Forced Organic Growth Plan. That's going to take you to the next level. But if I could take that and say $1 a day, good. That's $365 per year. Okay, cool. Now, for the naysayers who said, Marcus, you got to have web hosting, man. You got to do something. I can't be broke. Okay, good. Let's take about $60 out for web hosting, and you still profit $300. Okay, cool. So you did something. You worked one day, and you made $365. How many of you guys, if you're honest, have ever worked at a job where you got $365 for one day of work? Okay? Like consistently, like maybe more than 10 times in your life. How many of you guys have ever done that? Okay, let me make it more real for you. $365 a day times 365, I don't know what that would be a year, probably close to 150, 200,000 a year. Okay, very few people have. right? Very few people. Okay? Now, if I do the same thing tomorrow, I've already paid for my web hosting, so now I'm at $665. I do the same thing the next day and the next day. By day 10, I'm making $10 a day. Well, Marcus, $10 a day, $21 a day, what are you, full of shit, buddy? We ain't going to get anywhere doing that. And that's the thinking that keeps you broke. That's why you're broke, because you think like that. You say, that ain't going to do nothing. I need to hit the home run. I need to do the big thing. Well, that's good, because while you're trying to hit home runs, I'm getting grounders, I'm bunting, I'm fumbling, I got a foul back, I struck out a few times, but I'm making money and you ain't. How do you like them apples? I hope you like this. Kind of a different side of me today. But we have that. And you're like, okay, $10 a day, right? $10 a day. How many of you guys would like to make $5,000 a month? Okay? Moses says he's broke. All right, well, go sell some stuff, Moses. Not that hard. Okay? $10 in 24 hours is a home run for Will. Good. And we're going to teach you how to get those home runs. It's not that hard. Okay? Good. Like Moses says, he needs deconditioning. That's what we're doing. We're deconditioning the heck out of you so that when you're done with this webinar, you're going to be like, dude, Marcus, that was awesome. Now I can go do something. And I hope if you like it, you buy my other stuff, and we'll do more stuff like this as well. Okay? Mike wants a Ferrari. Okay, you want a Ferrari? Why? Why don't you take the money you were going to spend, about $2,000 a month for a Ferrari if you lease it? Why don't you take that and run it into ads and get 10 Ferraris? See, people don't think like this. They don't think like this. They say, I want this. I want that. Right? You know how many times I've like freaking lived on peanuts to fund my next thing? But I only fund it when I know it's working. That's it, right? So we look at that, and you're like, I want a Ferrari. Well, that's great. Go get one. That's fine. Everyone on this call could probably afford a Ferrari. You might have to live in it, but you can't afford it. So it's not about a want. It's about priorities. What are you going to do to get what you think your life should be? It's about lifestyle. So many people are in this hustle, 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 hustle. I saw a guy on a YouTube thing the other day, and he's like, I got this private jet so that I can fly around the country and speak at all these things and be home for my kids on the third day for the weekend. And I'm like, well, I like to work a tenth as hard as you so I could be with my kids every day when they come home from school, and I don't have to fly around the country. It's all about lifestyle. It's about what you want, right? To me, I want to stay home. I'd rather make $1 million and stay home than make $10 million and fly all over the country and do all this stuff, right? I'd rather fund my life and do cool stuff than have some big fancy car, right? That's the deal. But at any rate, we look at this and we're like, okay, if I could focus on this. So you want $5,000 a month. Everyone on this webinar would probably be really, really happy to get a $5,000 check every month. Steve says, I get $100 a day. It's just killing me. Okay, that's another thing. Watch the language you use. Your job's not killing you unless you physically work in a factory that's like deteriorating your lungs or whatever. But at any rate, like Grace says, I want to stay home. Good, you can. It's not that hard. If you take your job and you're like, I sit here 8 hours a day, you know how much shit you could get done online in 8 hours? I mean, think about it. If I worked a solid 8 hours, I could probably get 5 videos done. Those videos will probably get 500 to 1,000 views each. I'll probably sell a lot of stuff, and I'll still have time left over to go cook some dinner for the family. Okay, so $5,000 a month. You want that? That is approximately $137 a day. $137 a day. Now, since our websites don't sleep, that's 24 hours. Take that, divide it by 24 hours. Okay, that's approximately $6 an hour, right? I think a little bit less than that, so $6 an hour. So what do you let stopping you? Do you think the internet has $6 an hour that they can afford to give you? Does anyone think that the internet is so broke that there's no way for you to find $6 an hour? Does anyone disagree with that? If you disagree with it, you can call up and we will debate about it, because I know it's there, because I'm getting it right now. While this webinar is going on, I'm actually making money. Not off of the webinar, off of the videos that I made yesterday and the day before and the day before and the things that I put up, right? So how many of you guys not only believe you can make $1, but now you're like, I could probably set something up to make $6 an hour, right? I think so. 4 million people search Google. 4 million every 60 seconds. right? So that's like a lot of zeros. Let's put these here, right? So 4 million every 60 seconds. So times that by 60, okay? I'm not even going to try to do the math, but I think it's 240 million. Is that right? Is my math right there? 240 million, or is it 2.4 billion? Right? So that means that 240 million people are searching Google every hour. That's a lot of people. Out of those 240 million search queries, you don't think you could make $6? Then you're in the wrong line of work. If you don't think it's out there, then I'm sorry, you are not going to get very far as an internet marketer. It's totally possible, like Lux says. Mark says, is 47 years old too late to get into stuff? No. I got a guy who's like, I think he's either 67 or 76 or something. I think he's 76 because he's retired for a while. And the dude was making like $4 grand a month on a sports site, right? So not only was he making money on something that the young hip kids do, right? I'm only 10 years younger than you, dude. I'm actually, am I 38 or 37? I forgot, right? I just age well, I guess. Maybe it's a benefit of being 5 feet tall, which leads to all kinds of limiting beliefs. If you've never had limiting beliefs, be 5 feet tall in high school when bullying was allowed. Yeah, just try that on. And I know a lot of people have it a lot worse than I did. Mine's not even close to it. But that's what you have to do. You have to look at it and say, this is where we are. This is where we are. Now I'm going to go here. WM says, I'm 65 plus. All right, plus, I don't know, plus what? Okay. I guess the plus is good. So we got to look at this, right? So there's $6 an hour on the internet waiting for you. There's $600 an hour on the internet waiting for you. There's $6 million an hour on the internet waiting for you. You don't have to create it. Nobody here is going to make money. No one's going to make money. All right, good question. D says, everyone is saying to me, get a degree. I'm really not interested in a degree. I'm interested in affiliate. What should I do? Be an affiliate marketer, right? I never went to college. I graduated high school because I was a preacher, and I preached to all the gang kids. And it was like a rundown secondary school, and they were cool, right? All these kids were like, dude, that guy likes the Bible, so don't mess with him. But because of that, the teacher was also, she liked that I preached, and she just signed off and said you could graduate, which was kind of cool. Okay, so I got to look at that. But I didn't get very far with school. School is great if you know what you're doing. Tell my kids this. I'm like, don't go to college unless you know why you're going to college. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not going to pay for someone to go to college just because it's the thing to do after high school, right? That's my tear in my belief system. I like Bernie's idea of free college for everyone, but I also don't like the idea of free college because then people aren't going to value it and it might be worse off. So I don't know. I can't solve political stuff, but I can sure as hell find you $6 an hour on the internet. All right, so we look at this. Like CJ says, the money on the internet is unlimited. It is. It is literally, we're talking like, I think it's pushing, it's a multi-billion dollar industry. The online teaching industry is huge. The toolbar industry is huge. What if I told you, like this, here's a limiting belief. When I started doing the smiley faces, and I'm going to draw a smiley face here. Here's our smiley face. I had to tell my family, this is 2003. Our second child was born. We were living in a nice apartment in Portland, Oregon. I rented another apartment in Portland, Oregon, and I walked from one to the other. One was my office, one was the other thing. And I started making money with smiley faces. And my dad came to me and he's like, so what you doing now? I'm like, man, it was, I started this in September and it was now like January or something. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, from September to January, I made $80,000 giving away smiley faces. And if you've never, like, it's hard enough to tell people that you do affiliate marketing because they're like, what the hell is that? And can you teach me? Right? I get insulted all the time by people say, oh, that's, you know. But at any rate, if you've ever worried about that, try telling people you made 80 grand with smiley faces, or try telling people you made $1 million with little cursors and things. But it's out there, okay? Like people who look at this, the limiting belief is there. Like you say, Marcus, what about fonts? Do you know that when I had a font site, fonts, we're talking about like lettering on your computer that's free with Windows. Some people are so fanatical about fonts, I repeatedly got $600 orders, right? And I was an affiliate, so I got like $200 and I was like, holy cow, I made $200 on my font site. Apart from the free stuff I gave away, these people bought it. And then I logged in and I said, holy cow, one guy bought $600 worth of fonts? And you can't make $6 an hour? Right? All you got to do, like 100 of them. So every 4 days, can you get one guy to buy $600 worth of fonts? Right? How many of you guys you're liking this? You're like, holy cow. I mean, I'm starting to get it because people spend on the stupidest stuff. Right? People spend on the stupidest stuff. Carlos says, my limiting belief is to want to do everything perfect and looking for perfection, he doesn't do anything. Here's a quote. I learned this in rehab. Great quote. Perfection is the enemy of excellence. Perfection is the enemy of excellence. You want to be excellent? Hit the ground balls. Do the bunts. You'll get a home run, right? They don't go up there every time knowing they're going to get a home run. But, like Gretzky says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Take a bunch of shots. Now, do it legally. Do it ethically. Don't be an idiot. With that said, there's people buying books about how to take care of betta fish. There's people buying books about how to take care of turtles. There's people that suck at making wood stuff that buy woodworking plans. I'm not one of them. As you can tell, I build all the wood stuff myself, and it's a miracle that it hasn't fallen on me. But it's pretty sturdy, okay? And I even built the desk myself. You can tell because it looks like that. But at any rate, there's people doing all this stuff. Guys, there's money being, I was ready. Now, my wife didn't want me to, but I was ready to drop like freaking a ton of money to go in the front row of a Bruno Mars concert because my daughter loves him. And she's like, no, we're not going to do it just on principle. I don't care if you have the money. You're not going to do it on principle. But it was like $2,000 for the seats, each one. And then you had to pay all these fees and stuff. And that happens in stadiums every single night all over the country. These people who say, oh, well, there's a recession and no one spends any money, they must not go out to eat because the restaurants are packed. All a recession means is that money has shifted hands. That's all that ever happens. No one ever makes money. The United States government makes money. We transfer it, right? That's like people go, oh, Marcus, they took this. No one takes it. You spend it. Got to change your vocabulary. Okay. Is Simple Sites Bonus the best place to start? Yes, simplesitesbonus.com is where you get the Simple Sites course. I have worked my butt off on the course, and I'm still working it for the 2017 course because I want you guys to really learn about this, right? Really cool. Okay. William says, you can only teach kids or people what they want to learn. I very computer literate, so it's kids' mother. Kids hate the computer. Okay? Don't know how to respond to that, but at any rate, we look at that, and that's a good point. I don't teach you anything. I'm standing up here. How many of you guys have had, like, epiphany or something? Right? How many of you guys had an epiphany or you're like, hey, dude, that's cool? Right? You got a little aha moment. Right? I didn't teach you that. You gathered it. You took this stuff and you gathered it on your own. So give yourself props. And then if you like the way I teach and you gather a lot from it, then get my other stuff and you'll like it as well. But I don't teach you anything. So many people put the burden on me. And back when I used to drink, it made me insane because I am very personal about my business. I like to help you guys. I like to give you guys the tools. I really invest in it. That's why sometimes you might not get a support response for like 2 days because Tiffany's like, hey, check it out, Marcus, what about this? And I want to think about it for a while before I give you an answer because I want you to do well, right? I want you to do really good. And so sometimes I look at that and people are like, well, Marcus, I did this and I did that. But the fact of the matter is you have to learn. You have to dig this stuff out. You have to get it yourself. And it's all about you. You can't put your faith in other people. You can't do it, right? Marcus, when I buy your product, how soon can I make money? I have no idea. I don't know you. I don't know what you're going to... Yeah, no, Marcus, but what if I spent 5 hours a day, Marcus? I don't know. You might spend 5 hours on Facebook. You might spend 5 hours doing nothing. I don't know. And even when you do set something up, it might not work right away. But if you want a no-fail plan, don't quit, right? It's like the story in Think and Grow Rich where the guy's digging and digging and digging. He buys this field and there's gold. He knows there's gold, and he buys a field, he buys tractors, he digs and digs and digs for years, and woohoo, we're going to get rich. And pretty soon he's like, we ain't rich. I'm bored. I don't like this. And he gives up. The guy buys the land for pennies on the dollar, comes in, digs 3 feet. The guy was 3 feet from striking it rich. 3 feet. Do you know how many of you guys are just feet from striking it rich, from getting this working, but you give up too soon, or you don't believe it, or you can't recognize it even when it's there? It's about recognizing it. So hopefully we're deconditioning you. If you feel deconditioned, that's good. Is the video choppy, or are we still good? I think we're good. It says it's a live, healthy stream. All right, cool. So that's how it works. Hey, Marcus, do you recommend building your own websites or paying for them to be made? If you're going to pay for one to be made, go to highticketniches.com. Not only do we give you one, but we also we pick the niche for you. So it's a great way to start if you want to go there. So either one, okay? So we got to do that. All right, so that's where we're at. We got to look at that. Another thing, okay, is we have to look at consistency, right? We have to look at consistency. You have to do something consistent. If you do something and it makes $1, after 3 days, don't give up saying, I only made $3, I suck. Say, I made $3. Can I make 6? Can I make 10? Can I make 1,000? Yes, yes, yes. Very important. Jack says, you make it sound really simple. And it's not for most folks. It's not because you don't believe it is. It is so easy to set up a website. Like, you just do it. You're not going to break anything. So many people, like, one of my pet peeves, people put WordPress sites up, and then they come to me, they're like, Marcus, you gotta log in because I didn't make it live yet. Well, why didn't you make it live? Well, I didn't want anyone to see it while I was working. No one cares. No one's looking at your site. No one's going to tell you how dumb it is, right? You just build it. You make it work. It's not that hard to do. I guarantee you, if anyone gets simple sites and they go through the WordPress part and they can't set up WordPress within an hour, and you really tried, then I will sit there and I'll teach you how to do it myself. Does that sound fair enough? Okay. So we look at that. And we say that, okay, you're building on what you did. Yeah, exactly. Does Blogger work? Yes, Blogger works. So does Twitter. So does everything. Pretty much everything works. Okay? So you got to ask yourself your question. If everything works, is it ethical? There's certain things that I could promote right now, and I could send to my list, and I could put on YouTube, and I could make a lot of money. I could probably get a fancy car if that's what I was into. Okay? I could get one anyway, but that would make it a lot easier to spend on. Okay, there's things that I could promote, and I could make a lot. I could probably make an extra $1 million a year if I promoted a certain product that I don't want to promote because I don't think it's in line with what I want to do ethically. And I know at the end of the day, some people are left out in the cold because it's like a revolving circle. So I don't do that. So you got to look at that. You got to say, is it ethical? Is it something I really want to do and get behind? There's certain things I don't, right? I don't want to get behind certain things, like I don't like the pickup artist niche, and I don't like that the self-help niche has merged with the pickup artist niche. I think that's terrible because these people are looking for anxiety stuff, and this guy's like, hey, here's how to get girls all over you, and it's like, I just wanted to learn about anxiety. But anyway, that's a rant, right? So is it ethical? Is it something you can get behind? Is it something that you believe in? Okay? Is it something like sometimes smiley faces, right? I was like, okay, smiley faces are cool, right? Anyone believes in them. Okay. Give them the learning how to drive analogy. Yeah, it's like learning to ride a bike or drive or something, right? You got to learn it. You got to get in there. You got to try it. You got to just do it. And a lot of this stuff is those things that is like riding a bike. You could read a book. Like earlier, we talked about it, right? You know all this stuff, but your life isn't where you want it to be. So what good is the stuff, right? If you are having trouble and you can't build a website, it's not because you don't know how to do it. It's because you're not sitting down and doing it. Plain and simple. After this call, if you're like, Marcus is a jerk and he needs to teach me stuff free, go on YouTube, find my video about how to set up a blog. All right? If you don't like me that much, go around and just go directly to the host so I don't get any commission, okay? But watch the video and you'll set up a site. Right? That's how much I care about you getting this stuff because it's not that hard. You just have to do it. The limiting beliefs are going to kill you. If my mind was still stuck in the shed, which it was partially, When I had my breakdown 3 years ago, there was a lot of my mind still in that shed that needed to be. Okay, is audio back? Did we get audio back? Hopefully. Okay, are we back? Should be back. Okay, audio should be back. Good. Good thing we got a backup. Good thing I know how to plug things in fast. Right? Okay, cool. So, what we got to look at is how this works, right? And I believe this stuff. Guys, I believe that this will change your life financially if you do it. Right? I believe that with everything. That's why when people get my program and stuff, it's like, okay, it might not be perfect. Right? Sometimes a video is not working. Sometimes a plugin needs to be updated. Sometimes I take a little longer than I'd like to answer a question. Sometimes that happens. But I believe in this so much that it works because I've seen it work. And your number one issue is mental today, right? Mental. Right? You say to yourself, Marcus, I don't think I can do it. I've made it so easy for you, it's not even funny. Do you know back in that mobile home, I had to learn, the first website I learned to build was on the free AOL platform. This lady who was like ridiculously gorgeous came into our place where I was selling computers, and she was like, whoa, you know, and all the guys were like, whoa. And she comes in, and I'm like, well, I'll help you set up a website. She's like, well, come on down to my house. And I'm like, I will. Let's go set up that website. And so I went there and I set up the website, and I had to learn on this free AOL platform, and she had a physical fitness website, and we made it, and it sucked. WordPress is way easier than this. This was terrible. I mean, I'm talking terrible, like terrible. So we look at that, and we say, okay, that's what I use. Now, guys, with the simple sites, these are the things that I've done. I've gotten you plugins, right? A lot of people are like, they watch this live, and they're like, Marcus, that's cool how you do YouTube live on your blog. I actually made a plugin for it, right? I'm like, a lot of people want to do it. I could teach you the codes. I could show you how to get a programmer, or I could make a program and give it to you, and you go, here's my YouTube, go. Boom, live, same thing. I don't know how to build a squeeze page. Use the plugin. It takes 2 seconds. You click a button, you're done, right? If you want the 2017 version, yes, you do need to upgrade. When you're in the program, we give you all the updates within the year. Okay, so when you buy like Simple Sites 2017, or you're going to get all the updates in 2017, but if you want 18, we give you like an upgrade price or whatever. Okay, so we give you plugins. Makes it easy. We give you templates. Right? There you go. You don't know how to design a site? Use a template. You click, 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 click. If you could click on a mouse, you can do this. Right? Very, very important. All right, we got plugins. We got support. We give you site reviews. We give you tools. We give you traffic hacks. We give you everything. All you got to do is say, Marcus, I'm willing to put aside the mental crap that's keeping me in the trailer park of life. Right? Let's get all preachy on you there, right? I need some people saying hallelujah or something like that. Right? In the trailer park of life. If you're stuck there, it's time to get out because there's money all around you. Right? It's like those people who live in bad areas, and like when I grew up in LA, right? In LA looks like this. You're like poverty, 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 like super mansion. Right? So it's like poverty, poverty, mansion. That's how life is. Right? We look at life and we're like, okay, here's these people in poverty, and they don't realize that the mansion money is everywhere. It's everywhere. If you want it, right, if that's what you want, you can go get it. It's not that hard to do. But if you're stuck in your mindset, then these things are not going to change. How many of you guys are ready to change your mindset today? Like, Marcus, this makes sense. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it work. The idea here is the difference, because so many people come to me and they would pay me like $50,000 or $100,000 if I gave them a guaranteed site that makes money. Okay? Pretty cool. Good. If they had it. Most people don't have that. But we look at it and we're like, would you rather have guaranteed, or would you rather call your own shots? Think about that. Would you rather have guaranteed? You could go to work and you could get guaranteed. You could go like that kid who's on here and he's like, my family wants me to get a degree. You could go do that. You're partially guaranteed a job, right? You could have guaranteed. Guaranteed you'll have the job until, you know, some robot takes it over. But at any rate, you're like, okay, do I want guaranteed, or do I just want to go get it, right? And we look at that and we say everything is the difference between just believing it. Now, what is the big secret? What's the big secret? It's that you've been conditioned. Everything in your life has conditioned you to be right where you are right now. Everything in your life has conditioned you to be where you are right now. The reason you want it, the reason that guy wants a Ferrari isn't to go fast. It's to impress other people. He's been conditioned that that's what impresses other people, right? The reason we want certain things, the reason we desire certain things, the reason you want whatever it is, it's because you've been conditioned. So the idea is first to realize it and say, I've been conditioned. I've been conditioned to go to school, get an A, yay, get an F, fail. I suck, I'm good, right? Is it working? Okay. So we look at that and we're like, okay. And you're conditioned. Get out of school, get a degree, get a job, get a house, get 2 cars, get a family. And along the way, sometimes we're like, this isn't the life I really wanted. That's the idea of failure before you started. How many of you guys are living someone else's dream right now? Someone else had that dream. Someone else had that idea. Someone else maybe has your thoughts. Right? Think about that. The thoughts, the things that you are having in your brain are a product of something else. Obviously, because the English language was given to us. We didn't invent it. So obviously the thoughts had to come from somewhere else. The words came from somewhere else. Right? Think about this for a minute, because if you get it, if it sinks in, it will change your life dramatically. Right? We look at that. How was I 3 years ago able to like almost lose everything, including my life, and within 2 years later, I get it back even better than before? Right? Think about that for a minute. Okay? Think about that. Ray says, well, you haven't answered your own question, why affiliate sites fail. Well, it wasn't my question, it might be yours. But the reason affiliate sites fail is because you don't do it directly. You don't do it directly. You do it the way you're conditioned. You are conditioned to be a worker. You think time is money. There's another belief. Time is money. How many people think time is money? How many people said that today or this week or whatever? Right? Time is not money. Time's not even close to money. If time was close to money, the guy who they found who was like 115 years old would probably be super rich. But he's not. A lot of you guys would be rich because maybe you sit around and you don't have a job and you got all the time in the world, but you don't have any money. Time is not money. Okay? So what you have to do is you have to deliberately set things up to make it work. So I hope that this helped decondition you. I hope that you got that you can do this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think. I don't care anything. What I care about is you can do this. I hope you also understand that there's all these thoughts going in your head that are trying to stop you from doing what you want to do. Now, you could combat those thoughts. You could try to get rid of limiting beliefs. You could try to change them. Or you could just do what you got to do anyway, and they will change. It's kind of like bring your ass, and your brain will follow. Okay? So we look at that. Time isn't money, but you can still spend it. Sort of. Right? Time is another conditioned thing. Right? Our concept of time is just a measurement that we put on things. If you look at the world this way, money is man-made. It doesn't exist. It's just a unit of measurement, just like time. Right? We look at it, we're like, oh, I don't have enough time. Sure you do. You got all the time in the world. It just depends on what you're doing with it. Now, here's a quote that'll change your life. Here's a quote that'll change your life. Got to say it twice because I forgot what it was. Now I got to remember it. Yeah, well, so much for that quote. What was it? Yes. Oh, yeah. I have all the time in the world right now. Right? I have all the time in the world right now. Okay? I have all the time in the... So right now, where you're sitting, you have all the time in the world. You just spent an hour and a half on this webinar. I hope that everyone's like, dude, well spent. If not, you might need to watch it again because there's some things that'll change your life. If you want to change your life. If you don't, that's cool. If you're just like, Marcus, I just want money and Ferraris and that's all I want in life, then that's cool. You could go do that too. I mean, to each his own. But to the rest of you who are like, dude, Marcus, this makes sense. I want to get where I want to be. Right? We have to look at that. And we have to say, okay, I have all the time in the world right now. I can get rid of these limiting beliefs by just knowing they exist. I know I've been conditioned. I know this is the way I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to change what I do. Like Carrie says, change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. Yes, but I think it's deeper than that. Right? Change the way you see everything. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like at some point in my life, I realized the Wizard of Oz was a dude behind the curtain. It's like it's a dude behind the curtain. All these things, all this stuff, it's superstitions. It's all things I just think, right? Even my feelings, right? My feelings could be affected by Coca-Cola, or my feelings were affected by alcohol, or my feelings are affected by what I believe I should get, or my feelings are affected by advertising and commercials that tell me the life I should have. And that's exactly why you don't have the life you think you want. But what I'm going to show you how to do is go get the life you think you want. In the process, you're probably going to figure out it's not the one you wanted, and you're going to live happy, right? How many of you guys think I'm happy now? I'm pretty happy. All right, so that's the deal. We want to look at this. We want to make it work. We want to say how we do it, okay? Now, hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully you guys are getting the conditioning part. Now, there's two things you can do if you like this and you want to go forward. One, we have the Simple Sites course. This is a $300 course. It'll show you how to do everything step by step from beginning to end. It's going to show you how to make $6 an hour if that's what you want to do online, which ends up being like $5,000 a month. It'll show you how to make more. It'll show you how to make less. It shows you how to do this, okay? Will it do it for you? No. You have to do it, right? You got to do it, okay? So if you're willing to do it, if you say, Marcus, I'm going to push through, and I'm going to do it because I can do this, and I know the money's everywhere. That's a good place to start. For those of you who have a different budget, we have a program that's $1,000 or $997, right? I'm supposed to say $997 because it makes more people buy, but you guys are smarter than that. That's at highticketniches.com. That's where we find you a niche. We set up a site with some starter content, and you're a little bit closer to making it work. Either way, whatever you do, change your life, okay? I don't care if you buy stuff today. I'll be fine. But if you know you need this stuff, if you're like, Marcus, the reason I haven't is because I haven't believed I can do it. Now I believe I can do it because he showed me that it's everywhere. And we look at that and we say, okay, this is what we need to do. Now that you have that gumph, go do it right now. Don't pause. Don't let your mind get in the way and talk you out of it. Go to either simplesitesbonus.com, sign up. If you're broke, use the payment plan, okay? Or go to highticketniches.com and get the niche and make it work. Very, very cool. Okay. Jim, yes, we actually did a video review on that book. I like some parts of it. I didn't like other parts of it, but there's a review on my YouTube channel. All right, so that's what you want to do, guys. It's all about conditioning. You've been conditioned to believe things. They're stopping you, the limiting beliefs, the wants. Let's decondition. Let's start. Because another quote I will leave you with before you go sign up for one of my programs, either simplesitesbonus.com or highticketniches.com, I'm going to leave you with this one thing. It's not that you have to do something difficult. You just need to get started. That's it. If you can get started, that's 9/10 of the battle, 99 1/100ths of the battle. What we're going to do in our next webinar is we're going to talk about the idea of forced organic growth. We're going to talk to you about how to make it work, how to get out of the job mindset. So go get signed up, whatever you want to do. This will be live on YouTube within a few minutes. They render it. If you're totally like want to watch it again right away, it'll be in like lower quality, but if you wait like 20 minutes, it'll be in HD. I hope you guys enjoyed this. A lot of personal stuff about me. I hope it makes sense and shows you how this works. And I hope you understand that money is everywhere and everything's ready to go. So thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you in one of my products, whichever you choose. Just get started somewhere. $300 is a drop in the hat compared to what you can make. $1,000 is a drop in the hat if you go that route. Right, whatever you do, start somewhere. So that's highticketniches.com if you want to go all in and get started today. Simplesitesbonus.com if you want to do the do-it-yourself thing. So I hope you guys like this, right? This is it. It's on the table. It's on the thing. There's question marks in the box. If you have any questions, get me on live chat. Thanks again, simplesitesbonus.com. Everyone should at least start there. Start somewhere. Let me help you. Ask questions. Let's work together. Let's make money. And let's live the life that we want to live. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next webinar.